the teams. And under Bruce Rioch, Arsenal unbeaten, even in pre-season fixtures. But they are trying to change their style while retaining their competitiveness. Well, even at this early stage, it is a stigma being bottom of the table. For Manchester City to move up today, they have to win. Will Dennis Bergkamp get off the mark at Main Road this afternoon? It's Manchester City and Arsenal after the break.
The monster entered the Reynolds household via the drain at approximately 11:30 and proceeded to eat the living room carpet. Naturally perturbed, the Reynolds called the station and I was dispatched to the scene. Upon my arrival, I noticed that all the carpet had gone, apart from a small section in the downstairs loo. I cautioned the monster and advised him that anything he gurgled could be taken down and used in evidence against him. Clearly embarrassed by the trouble he had caused, the monster shed his skin in shame. A common reaction, I believe. The Reynolds family found that it made a very nice hearthrug and decided not to press charges. I released the monster, who lived happily ever after.
Good night, Dad.
Good night, son.
Cellnet do a simple thing. We let people who can't be together talk, wherever they are.
Everywhere you go,
Acoustic rock.
take the weather with you.
20 of the best acoustic rock tracks ever from the cream of today's songwriting talent, including Sheryl Crow, Crowded House, and Paul Weller. Plus the beautiful South, Eric Clapton, George Michael, and the Connells. On Acoustic Rock, out now on CD and cassette.
Everyone's a winner with JJB Sports, and Puma is soccer with the impressive Assalto Pro football boot, junior sizes $19.99, senior sizes $29.99, or Assalto all-round trainers, junior sizes $19.99, senior sizes $25.99. Get serious at JJB with the Puma Professional Pro football boots at $34.99, or Cup Pro football boots at an incredible $39.99.
Everyone's a winner, baby.
Guess what? Vauxhall are paying me to show how incredibly spacious the 5-door Corsa is. Fine, I said, but we go to Beverly Hills and I call the shots. Ruby, my darling! Not now, Shasha, I'm shopping. You see, there's loads of boot space, not to mention coat, hat, and dress space. Cute. And the Corsa's got lots of room in here. Well, I'll need some help to unpack.
The Corsa from Vauxhall, the small car with the big personality.
The Ryder Cup is the event that really counts for tour pros. It's about pride, not prize money.
You'll see 3 days of the most intense emotional golf as Europe bids to win back the cup lost to the USA in '91.
So join me, David Livingston,
And me, Ewan Murray.
as Sky Sports presents the 31st Ryder Cup.
In association with Ford Scorpio, exclusively live from the USA. Sky Sports with Ford Escort takes you to the heart of the action. Manchester City versus Arsenal, live. Ford Escort, Super Sunday.
So for the second time this afternoon on Sky Sports, here we go again. Manchester City and Arsenal this time around. Commentators Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Thank you, Richard. Manchester City needing a special day. For Stan Gibson, their groundsman, it's already a special day. His 70th birthday. He's lovingly tended the Main Road pitch for 35 years now. Well done to him. Like a number of players, Dermot Gallagher has been away with international commitments in midweek. He took charge of the Euro 96 qualifier between Poland and Romania. Manchester City to kick off. No strangers to crisis, really. 1 point out of 12. They've lost 3 in a row. Just 4 wins in 29 Premier games tells you the extent of the difficulties here. Arsenal defending their unbeaten start to the season. We're underway at Main Road. Peter Beagrie rather pressed back into service. He had a midweek reserve game along with Brightwell and Curl. We talked about the width on the pitch, and if you're going to have a pitch this wide, you've got to have wide players, and Peter Beagrie certainly comes into that category. He's on the left, Nicky Summerby on the right for City.
I think particularly against Arsenal, a mean back four, Martin, very difficult to get through. And if you can't get through, then the best way round.
Here's Wright against Phelan. Well, he remains such a meaningful player for Arsenal. Bruce Rioch has stuck very much to the same way of playing. And why not? They've been steady, if not too spectacular. Disappointed with 2 home draws against Middlesbrough, which you saw live on Sky Sports, and against Nottingham Forest. Flitcroft with a header. Bergkamp trying to unsettle Curl on his return. He fractured a bone in an ankle in a pre-season match against Wolves in a collision with Steve Bull. Curl. And England's captain on Wednesday, Arsenal's captain today, Tony Adams, and England's goalkeeper David Seaman doing well with the clearance to pick out Parlour, whose control wasn't quite up to it.
I mentioned at the beginning, Martin, I'd like to see Dennis Bergkamp push a little bit further forward, and he has taken up an advanced position early on in the game. Well, he's going to start like that, see how it goes, and then if he isn't getting much joy, what players like Dennis tend to do is drop off and go look for the ball. If he gets a bit of early joy, we might find him play a little bit further forward today.
Came off Edgehill, and Bergkamp's very quickly onto it. Well, the manager's asked him to show a bit more fire in his belly.
Distant, hit it cleanly, simple as that. It's quite inviting, it's there to be struck first time. Just hit it into the ground a little.
Arsenal have certainly been something of a bogey team in recent times to Manchester City, who've never beaten them in the Premiership. Here's King Cloudsale coming on to the ball. Played it to where he hoped Rosler was running. In fact, he was making a lateral movement, and the pass went through, not troubling Arsenal, straight to David Seaman.
Well, it was a difficult run for Rosler to make the first place with Arsenal holding up.
Well, the flag went up, and it went up rather late. But from Manchester City's point of view, the important fact was that it went up at all.
I think they got it right, they just pushed out. Obviously the signal, Keith Curl back as well, Martin, that was important because I'm sure he controls everything at the back, and I've no doubt it was on his shout that the back four just advanced 4 or 5 yards.
Well, he's had a warm welcome here, but he's certainly sitting in a hot seat. Adams tight on Rosler. Now Quinn has been left out. He's one of the substitutes today. Not given an initial chance to face his old club. And this is Eike Immel, a former German international. Cost £400,000 from Stuttgart, with Manchester City having something of a goalkeeping crisis. Tony Coton injured. Andy Dibble is on the way back to fitness. There's going to be a lot of work done in the engine room there by Flitcroft and Brightwell. Wholehearted players both. Dixon. Parlour. Stolen a march here, in behind Phelan. Brightwell trying to get back. Dixon's cross. Jensen. And back towards him from Ian Wright. Phelan nicked in to concede the corner.
Good recovery from Terry Phelan. He got caught way up the pitch, but managed to get himself back in. And it was important he did.
Merson to take the corner. Parlour has made something for himself here. Well, there's plenty of quantity in Ray Parlour's work. He's always involved, but at times you just wish for a bit more quality, perhaps. There was an opportunity then.
I felt sure he would drive that across it. There's so many bodies in there. At times, rather than pick out a player, which is sometimes difficult, I felt sure he just drove it with pace.
Right, coming from the short corner from Merson.
Well, it's a strange decision, because the referee's probably 3-4 times further away in distance than the linesman, and he thought nothing wrong with the linesman.
But it was a foul by Brightwell in the mind of the referee. More pressure on Manchester City. Bold and Keown going for it, but the head that made contact belonged to Keith Curl.
Olivier Ross is picking himself up because him and Steve Bold really were involved in a tussle there as that free kick was about to be taken.
Rossler got a bang in the face. Bold so good at flicking them on, but not that time. Lee Dixon with everything in front of him. Unable to involve Merson with the crossfield ball. His father, that goal for a time for Manchester City's reserve team. And Lee Dixon asking for extra complimentary tickets before the game, as usual when he comes to play here, but he's been part of so many winning Arsenal teams on this ground. The Arsenal fans can never doubt his professional commitment to a club that pays his wages.
It was one of the better performances last season we saw on Sky Sports here. A really first-class performance from Arsenal at Main Road.
But not the only winning performance that they put on in the 90s here. Manchester City found it very hard to get the better of them, home or away. Phelan, who sorted out his differences with the club. They were mainly with the previous manager, Brian Horton. Adams committed. Fitzsimons, who was part of Bobby Gould's set-up for Wales against Moldova in midweek. Parlour. More of the early pressure coming from the London club.
They certainly settled the better Arsenal.
Dixon. Free kick given and taken quickly. Jensen. It's going to be a key area, you feel, with Jensen and Keown. Brightwell, who played the first 2 games of the season in the centre of City's defence, and to stake the fires in the midfield area today. Joe Royle was saying earlier, City did play with 3 centre-backs against Everton, and a youthful touch to the team. Simons was one of those 3, but it's 2 in tandem today. But the Manchester City fans already feeling a bit frustrated at that moment with the referee, but Arsenal controlling the direction of the traffic at the moment, although Bergkamp is going to be called back here.
Well, it was Ian Wright that's received the yellow card, Martin.
I was just wondering, Bergkamp came back in a rather forwards-type challenge. Had another right, whose disciplinary record is patchy to say the least.
They haven't been able to get anything going at all, the home side, in the opening 10 minutes.
Right, did well to get the cross in. Here. Churchill got a bit lucky.
Arsenal are doing very well when Ham get the ball. Really putting City under a lot of pressure.
And City needing the likes of Flitcroft to stem the direction of the tide. Beagrie. Well, you can expect a bit of rustiness from him. But City still have the ball. With Phelan. Towards the handball, waved away by the referee, who was well placed to judge. Brightwell.
He's looking right, and Nicky Somerby picked it up top 10 field.
Kincladze. There's a shot on for Somerby, maybe. Goes back where it came from. Kincladze. And Oslo wanted more depth for the cross. First real flurry from Manchester City.
I think better
10 minutes to get going. Betting in senior players they may be, but players that Alan Ball hasn't been able to use in training. Not that training's been easy. They've developed a splendid new complex for that, but it wasn't ready during the pre-season period, and I'm afraid that rather showed in some of City's earlier performances. All sorts of problems to be sorted out. Francis Lee and his board of directors aiming to do that, trying to keep sound business sense as well. Colin Barlow, another former City player, involved on the management side now, sitting alongside the chairman. Flitcroft, who took on the captaincy when Kerr was out of the side. Kincladze, nothing left of him. So he's a 22-year-old Georgian from Dinamo Tbilisi.
I sometimes think you've got to keep with Martin against Arsenal. Again, Kincladze's coming across. He didn't have an out ball on the other side. There's Peter Beagrie right in front of him. And all that does is drag the full back into the centre of the field and just crowd things up. I'd like to see Somerby and Beagrie almost with chalk on their boots, try to stretch it a little bit.
Well, Arsenal, as you say, Andy, have always been, particularly under George Graham, awkward opponents. Now, I know that Bruce Rioch has made no secret of it, that he wants a more passing game from players who perhaps have been schooled in other virtues in the game. Well, Kickoff trying to set an example here.
He's doing just that. He really has set off and fired Gary Flitcroft. He's been flying into tackles. They're just leading by example in that midfield area. And he thinks he's got time, tries to drag it, he's having none of it. And that actually goes for a corner, they don't get it.
Well, it could be a big season for Gary Flitcroft. He's represented England at under 21 level. He's been close to getting in the senior squad. Got an opportunity to impress under the enthusiastic management of Alan Ball.
Barlow will like him. He's his kind of player. He's all energy, total commitment.
And he's still young. That's another attribute that Alan Ball likes. Roscoe trying to take it early. David Seaman had quite a lot of work to do on Wednesday night. Played well on his return for England. Didn't get too many mentions for it in the way the match was reported. Bergkamp and Wright going for the same ball. Neither made it theirs. Dixon. Merson in a useful position for Arsenal. The good news for Arsenal fans that Nigel Winterburn no worse for wear. But they're finding some promising positions without without as yet producing a telling final ball to really unhinge Manchester City. And you just fear for City's confidence if Arsenal were to get an early goal.
Yes, they're not a bad side at protecting narrow leads, Arsenal.
Bolt. Bergkamp trying to make up the ground. His kick wasn't particularly well struck. Pressure from right on Beagrie. Manchester City haven't won since that famous success at Blackburn at the back end of last season. Rosler. Clever play. And all the while the worry was whether there would be an offside flag against Mickey Summerby. In the end there was.
Very good at that. Obviously under George Graham it was one thing. They always hold a good line. Always waiting. If people go behind them, they'll just stand and let them go. Look at Nigel Winterburn. Look at him, looking right across the line. He's held his position quite comfortably offside.
Rosler. Summerby. Brightwell's ball. Flitcroft's run. Always straining to get any meat on the cross. Bergkamp. A bit of afters as the game quickly went on. Plenty of pace about the opening exchanges here. Manchester City with plenty to prove, particularly to the new manager. Conclavzo staying down. Parra getting a telling off, but nothing more than that.
We're just beaten by pure skill. Totally deceived, just drops his shoulder and he just disappears. I don't think Ray Parlour would have been the only player embarrassed by that movement.
Simons has come up. Bold beats him for the header. Parlour. Bergkamp has spotted the runner on the far side. Dixon, but was nowhere near finding him. Arsenal got a bit lucky.
Yeah, the pass certainly didn't match the run.
Even more responsibility on Rosler's square shoulders today. Scorer of Manchester City's only 2 goals so far this season. There's the handball against Jensen. Curl drilled the ball at him. Certainly the fans in this marvellous new Kickoff stand doing their very best to influence proceedings here in Manchester City's favour.
Obviously get a good view of it from over there.
Has played more Bundesliga games than any other goalkeeper in history, so Manchester City have signed someone who knows his job.
He knows his job, but the teammates wouldn't have been too happy with that throw out. Really put Nicky Summerby in some trouble.
Jensen. Happy times for Denmark, a great result in midweek in Belgium to win. Jensen wasn't in the squad because he hasn't been playing for Arsenal. He is playing today. Merson. Parlour. The part of the crowd's discontent at the moment. Keown. Keeping it in and around the City penalty area, out by Edgehill. Kickoff trying to force it forward again. Typical of his work. in the opening 20 minutes. Jensen, space for Merson coming in from the left-hand side. There's a ball on for Bergkamp. And Immel was able to make the save.
Lovely football from Arsenal, it really was. Pass into Merson, who'd taken up a great position. And Dennis Bergkamp made a lovely little run.
Well, that's the type of position we've seen him take up in international football and with his other clubs to devastating effect. But here's Kinkladze.
That's what I mean about playing up there, Martin. I think if you've got a guy who's got that type of ability to make that type of run, then you don't want him playing way, way deep. You want him up there hurting people. And if he can get confidence, if he can grow, and I think it will take him a little bit of time. And then he'll hurt a few teams, I'm sure of that.
Parler. Bergkamp. Phelan is very quick. He can recover here.
The trouble they've got, City, is when they're just clearing it like that ball up from the back, well, that's food and drink to Bold and Adams. They'll take that type of ball all day, and Uwe Rosler is going to have a tough time unless the serving gets a little bit better. And that's pretty dominating, that is. Arsenal have had all the play, and I think those figures show that.
Just as Manchester City have been dependent on Rosler for goals, with no David Platt, Arsenal will be looking again to Ian Wright.
Amazing, isn't it? All the players, only 2 players have scored goals this season on the pitch. I don't think we should expect a goal feast, any.
Well, the wonderful thing about this game is you never know. And with players of this amount of talent on the pitch, anything is possible. Rosler has some unhappy memories of playing against Arsenal. He was sent off at Highbury on the opening day of last season. Arsenal, you feel in control, but not in the lead. Alan Ball, who spent 5 years in Highbury as a player, watching his side defend here, with the captain back. Right! Well, it wasn't the hardest thing in the world to preempt something that Ian Wright might conjure up.
What a strike. Great knockdown from Parler. Watch the way he goes up, and he knows exactly what he's doing here. He's no intention of going for a goal. Drops it down. Well, righty, we shouldn't be surprised when he conjures a shot of that pace and that accuracy from that type of range. And I think the goalkeeper's happy that that's just above him and not to the side a little bit.
Another Arsenal corner. Again entrusted to Merson. Good lead by Simons. Merson settles for another chance. Oh, but Kinkladze back for Manchester City. Away by Brackwell, knocked on by Beagrie. Manchester City regroup, trying to push out. Bergkamp, Dixon finding himself on the left. Phelan on the right. Arsenal turned it on in the second half at Goodison to beat Everton. They were on the wrong end of a 0-0 draw. You understand what I mean against Coventry. Lucky in Bruce Rock's mind to get a point from that. Some of it. And can they build off Rosler this time?
I think they can, because they could control that one, Mark. That's the difference.
Phelan Hares ahead of Beagrie. Parler got back in to help out Lee Dixon. And that's the sort of thing that he does so consistently. We're a bit critical of his crossing earlier on.
Well, it gives us a little chance to admire the quality of the strike and the knockdown. I think this is an excellent knockdown from Parler. So aware of Wright's position, and that's a top quality strike.
The moment of the match so far. Rosler chasing. So enough on it for Adams to see it behind. There was. Well, the extra day's rest for the international players, I'm sure, of benefit. City had Kit Simons with Wales, Kinkadze with Georgia, representatives with both islands. David Seaman, of course, and Tony Adams with England, and Arsenal Bergkamp with Holland. Dixon doing the dictating here at the throw. Well, this is the second part of a double-header for you today, and we've got another double-header Monday, Tuesday. Monday night football, West Ham and Chelsea, both in need of points. It's a smashing presentation if you've not caught our Monday nights yet, with Andy Gray doing all sorts of wonderful technological and tactical things in the lead up to the game. So watch from 7 if you can. And then some of us are off to Russia tomorrow. Looking forward to seeing Manchester United start their UEFA Cup campaign. You'll be able to watch live on Tuesday. We start at 4:30. All for you on Sky Sports. Jensen. Simons. Again, it's got to be a pass of real precision to allow Rosler to hold it up. He's such a willing worker. He'll cover every blade of grass at the sharp end for Alan Ball. But a lot of energy could be wasted today if he's not careful. Running in rather wasted causes. Territorially, so far the match belongs to Arsenal, but so important for the morale of Manchester City. It's still 0-0.
They're playing like a team who've lost 3 in a row, Manchester City. No surprise to see their confidence is a little down.
And they're playing like a team with not too much rehearsal, given that players have come back from quite long-term injuries, pressed into service a little earlier perhaps than Alan Ball would have wanted. Not too much time to work on the pattern of play, and even this morning having to make a change at right back.
I think that's right, and I think we have to take all that into consideration. There's not an awful lot wrong that a win wouldn't help. So there are times when sometimes you'll take a result rather than a performance. And I think this is one of those days for Bolly. His team dig in and they can nick a narrow win somewhere along the line, and they can use that to build confidence.
Adams. Been pretty straightforward for Arsenal at the back so far. And ball by Wright.
Well, it's just as well it wasn't regarded as deliberate, Martin, having had a yellow card already.
Well, there were a huge number of dismissals in the 4 divisions yesterday. Rosler. This is Beagrie. Something on for Manchester City here. Dixon diffuses it all. Fowler rather mishit that. Mercer. Now Winterburn. Some of it. Who at times has been accused here of lacking a bit of confidence in his play. He's certainly got plenty of ability. Phelan. Rossler.
That was worth it. Not the strongest side. It's certainly worth swinging a leg at it, but that was better play from City. Beagley did keep the width, and when Sommer became a cross, he had the option just to roll the ball to him and keep the move going. Certainly nothing wrong with having a goal. When your team's struggling a little bit, well, you never know.
Well, Alan Ball used quite deliberate shock therapy after that defeat at Queen's Park Rangers to try and ginger up his players. There was nothing wrong with the commitment in the next match here against Everton, but of course there was plenty wrong with the result. Adams, right furthest forward, curl onto Nipoli. Brightwell, for once, Kinkladze, who is a young player with a high degree of technical ability. He couldn't control it, it was on his weaker, his right side. Manchester City tracked Georgi Kinkladze for some months before he was made available. And they got him on a promise from the president of Dinamo Tbilisi, although Milan and Barcelona, we understand, were making overtures. City were given the opportunity and they signed a young player who made a particular impact in internationals for Georgia against Wales, scoring home and away past Neville Southall. Now, Manchester City would love him to score past the England goalkeeper today. Keown. What City might be encouraged by is this lack of creativity in Arsenal's midfield. The goal threat of a David Platt. Plenty of industry from Keown and Jensen. Bergkamp. Oh, mistake by Curl. Merson. Good recovery by Edgehill.
Just lost his bearings, Keith Curl. He covered the run well from Merson initially, just dropped off the play. And Bergkamp didn't really deliver a great pass here, but he turns his back on it, he just loses it. But Richard Edgehill didn't give it up either. That was good defending from him.
But Arsenal have a corner. On the corner count, they're way ahead. This is Winterburn. Boulders stayed forward. And Adams as well. Well, drops City's way. A good change of direction by Flitcroft. With help from Phelan's positioning. Terry Phelan taking on Arsenal. Phelan's there again. Just lifted the mood at Main Road. Beagley switch to the right. And he's still trying to power on in the end through the middle.
It's tough. The doors just close on you when you do try to take that route. Got to be so precise, a little ball through, little 1-2s. You can see the crowd will want something to happen. Even that run from Terry Phelan, the mood to change in the crowd, they were up suddenly. I think they're just waiting for someone to do something for them, City.
And their plight again magnified by Manchester United. They might have thought in these parts United would have a sticky start to the season. Well, it lasted one game, a sticky start. They've won the next 4. They're level on points at the top. Manchester City, thank me for reminding you, are at the bottom, and they will stay that way unless they win today. And West Ham and Chelsea, well, someone must get some points tomorrow night. That's our Monday Night Football on Sky Sports. Okay. Parler for Bergkamp. Good space here. He's realised that Ian Wright wants the ball played early. Parler, Wright's in the middle, and will make sure the ball doesn't get there. But Bergkamp, as you said at the start, Andy, saw where Wright was running to and where he would want the delivery to be aimed.
Well, a couple of signs, isn't it, in the first half, Martin, of Bergkamp spotting Wright, not looking to drop it short, but looking to play it over the top to where his partner wants it. And that was a good example again. Wright made a great run. We get a little bit lucky here, but Ray Parler, the only thing he does wrong when he gets clear there, if he could just dig it out, get the sand wedge out, just dink it up to the back post.
He was there energetically again. Keown calling for one towards the D. Adams attacks it. Comes out to Merson. Still problems for Manchester City. Keown! Wasn't quite the contact it looked as though it might have been.
Yeah, they looked to attack it very well. Whether he just took his eye off it a little as he was making contact. In the corner, Adams knocks a good header down into a really dangerous area. And then when it comes back, Martin Keown really does attack this quite well. I don't know whether it just gets underneath it. And Gary Flitcroft did quite a good job of putting them off as well.
Bergkamp. Right, nearer to him that time. Dixon taking it on the burst. He was so determined to try and get it into the penalty area quickly. Ray Parler was left a bit disappointed. There was a shorter pass on momentarily for Arsenal, but it's Kinkladze looking for Summerby and finding him. All the while Gary Flitcroft was calling for it on the right-hand side, but although it was a shot nowhere near the target, it was a shot, and Manchester City need more of those.
Yeah, anything, just to give them a little bit of confidence, just to get them going, get the momentum going, because they really have played second fiddle for the majority of this half.
Curl trying to get in front of Bergkamp. He did it rather easily in the end. Kinkladze. Well, the deeper he comes, the more others have got to try and get up there and support Rossler. As Flitcroft was looking to do. Rossler applied some pressure on Bold. At least territorially, it's a reasonable position for Manchester City. Richard Edgehill to take the throw. Summerby. That's a splendid cross. Seaman was caught out by it. Ross has been penalised for his challenge on Adams, but it was a ball, well, wickedly delivered if you've got to try and defend it.
Well, if you can cross a ball like this, Martin, then why on earth are you tucking yourself infield? That's what I would ask myself. He doesn't even get a half a yard, but he wraps his foot round it. That's a great cross. Look at the goalkeeper, the problem he had, David Seaman. Started to come for it and then realised, listen, that's not coming anywhere near me, and had to back off it. But the quality was all on the cross, no doubt about that. I'd be saying, get yourself wide, try and get on the ball and produce a few more like that.
Right. He's got a free kick. Initially didn't take the ball with him. Wasn't initially looking to set Arsenal up in a set play situation. The lushness of Stan Gibson's turf defeated him for a second. Arsenal do have a free kick. Dennis Bergkamp is eyeing it up. Debate with Merson. Merson is the decoy. Bergkamp! And Immel just watched.
Goalkeeper gave it up. I think it's as simple as that. Not sure from this angle just how close that was. But he certainly had given it up, the goalkeeper. There's a dummy. Oh, it's very close. Only a foot or two wide, but on target. That certainly would have been his first goal. Goalkeeper had given it up totally.
Well, older Manchester City supporters will remember a great German goalkeeper, Bert Trautmann, who had so many fine years here. A prisoner of war, of course, who won over the hearts of the English in these parts. There's a German in goal for them these days as well. Kinkladze. Rossler not really given a chance by Brightwell. Flitcroft does rather better to play the ball planted at Bigre's feet. Flitcroft. Phelan. Rossler beating Bold. But unfortunately it didn't drop for Kinkladze. Been much of the game played in the Arsenal half. Simons. But Simons left on the deck. Foul by Bergkamp. Holland having problems in their quest to get into the last 16 for Euro 96. A narrow victory over Belarus on Wednesday. Right. A quizzical look at Bergkamp. And what's happening to the front two for Arslan is there's very rarely a midfield man getting ahead of them, ahead of the ball. Merson maybe once or twice. Keown and Jensen sitting. Difficult when we're playing up front.
It is. I mean, certainly from the centre midfield area. I mean, there's no doubt Merson and Parler will run past them if they can, but sometimes that can be difficult from wide areas. But I said at the top, I didn't expect Jensen or Keown to, either of them, to get too far ahead of the ball today, and that's been the case.
It does highlight, I think, the absence of midfield passers on the Arsenal staff. If there'd been a backup player of that capacity today, with Platt not available and a slot going in midfield, he surely would have got in. Some of it. This is Kinkladze. Bigre to the left.
Gave him too much to do.
He might not have got that if he'd been really in full working order, Peter Bigre, but when you've had summer surgery in a one reserve team game, it was asking far, far too much. Phelan. Bigre, good running from Rossler. On the blind side of Adams for a moment. Keown covering well on the defensive side of his nature. Bigre's shot. Bold came out to block it. And it bounced nicely for Bergkamp. Merson. Room to the right for Arsenal. Keown recognised that. Dixon happy to take it on. With the potentially devastating blow to Manchester City's morale if Arsenal got a goal here so close to half-time. There's Summerby. I've wondered about his positioning sometimes, but he's certainly helped out in the centre of the defence there. Keown. symmetrical in the fall, even if it was a foul. Referee's less likely to be impressed. Winterburn will feel that he went for the ball, but Edgehill was a bit too quick for him, and it's a booking for Nigel Winterburn.
I think he did. I think that's exactly what happened. I think they both go for the ball, totally committed to it. And Edgehill was just that little bit quicker.
Well, the most positive thing you can say for Manchester City after the first 45 minutes here is that they haven't conceded a goal. Ian Wright came close to damaging them with a splendid instant strike turned over by Ike Immel. Arsenal have controlled much of the play without looking over-penetrating. And at half-time at Main Road, it is 0-0. Up Manchester City's attack in that swap deal between the two clubs. Simon's having to turn. Immel steering it away. Parler. Merson is just knocked away from an area that Bergkamp was trying to fill by the head of Simons. Well, any extra ambition, Andy, we might see if there's any tactical alterations quickly apparent.
Well, I think the one thing you would be saying if you had been Bruce Rioch was if you up the tempo of the game a little bit and put them under a little bit more pressure, then the game's there to be won. I mean, you must feel that if you were Bruce Rioch. I mean, for Alan Ball, it would be a case of you just got to dig in, you just got to chisel something out, and go from there.
Jensen. Out by Summerby, but straight to Adams. A lot of those situations in the first half. Arsenal under no immediate pressure, building from the back. Adams is trying to go on like a man who does believe Arsenal can go on and win, and maybe should go on and win. Dixon. Goal kick. Well, we know where Ian Wright will do his work. I'm just keeping an eye on Paul Merson, who could be the floater from Arsenal's point of view if they are going to change things.
Well, I mean, it's no free kick given, but I can't believe he's got away with that. He's shaking the head from right, he says it all, I think.
Having been booked, he's got a button his lip. Subject to bookings, we're hearing that at half-time Arsenal were just querying the booking for Nigel Winterburn, which, as we said at the time, Andy, looked a genuine attempt to go for the ball, and he was just hit by a player who was fractionally quicker. A lot of bookings these days in those situations. Kinkladze. Keown a bit too tough for him. This grisly look to Arsenal in midfield. Threatens to keep the game safe for them. Threatens Manchester City, that is. Whether Bruce Rioch's side will be bold enough to really seize the initiative in the second half, as Everton did when they won here 10 days or so ago. Well, Winterburn, well, at least Dermot Gallagher has evened it up a little bit. It's Summerby, who wasn't the player involved when Winterburn was booked. That was Richard Edgehill, but it was a similar incident. Winterburn was the quick one this time.
I always think players are unfortunate when they pick up a yellow card for something like that, Martin. I really do.
Well, there were 9 yellow cards at Everton yesterday, 2 of them to David Unsworth. And the vast majority, I think all but one, was for a mistimed tackle. He's a gritty character, Nigel Winterburn. One that seeks the limelight. But week in, week out, he's such a consistent performer for Arsenal. They've got plenty of those, of course. But for the moment, he's having to go off. We're learning this season not to take always that too seriously, with the regulations that cover injured players at the moment. Bergkamp was a bit back on his heels, but the shot had Immel scampering for a moment.
It took him by surprise because he was trying to push the wall back, Dennis Bergkamp. He was trying to attract the referee's attention, and Paul Merson just nicked the ball to him. They're pointing away, trying to get the wall back. Oops. It wasn't a bad strike.
Summerby. But Arsenal starting the second half the way they started the first, pushing City back, but they're still checking on the state of Winterburn. Right, only Bergkamp in the penalty area. Before Arsenal had the cross come in, there was never really much chance of it. Ian Wright was outnumbered. Nigel Winterburn waved back on. Well, it certainly isn't the most flowing game we've ever brought you, but the significance of it is worthy of concentration, especially for Manchester City. Their opening 4 results almost identical to the 4 results at the start of the season 2 years ago that saw Peter Reid get the sack. The 5th game, incidentally, finished as a draw.
Wasn't 0-0 by any chance?
It was 1-1, actually, against Coventry. And then, if you remember, Brian Horton came in and won the 6th game down at Swindon. The 6th game for Manchester City this season is away to Newcastle.
Well, that's just giving the ball away. Kit Simon's just doing that with Uwe Ross. I feel obviously sympathy with the German up front today because the service into him hasn't been good. It's been pretty scarce at the best of times, and the balls that have come up to him have been difficult to deal with. There's been plenty of honest endeavour in the game, but I'm afraid to say very, very little quality at the moment.
Dixon. Emerson was moving centre from the left again. Arsenal might try more of that to make more of their possession. Keown. I don't think Flitcroft got the ball. He is getting a booking. It was reckless.
It was very reckless. And he's just jumped straight at Martin Keown. I think that's frustration for a young man. I think he has put everything into it. He's working his socks off for his side. And a little bit of frustration.
Another booking, another late tackle. Terry Phelan this time. Alan Ball isn't happy about it. But many of you watching might not be happy about it, but it is the way of the world with referees at the moment. More on that perhaps in a moment, but it's a free kick to concentrate on, taken by Merson. Blocked by Beagrie. He didn't really look back the full 10 yards. Played in well by Parler, and Arsenal have a corner.
Well, he dug out a good cross here, Ray Parler.
Well, no one wants to see players getting injured with tackles from behind, Andy, but if there's no chance of even going for the ball, knowing that if you mistime it, you're going to get booked, it's going to eventually perhaps change the nature of the game. I would say perhaps for the better.
Well.
Adams trying to win the header. Simons had recognised him as a main threat. Parler didn't get the ball that time. Brightwell looks around for some support from the officials, and
I think that's the problem you're going to give yourself, the officials in particular, when you're booking people, is that every tackle then you're risking a giving someone a yellow card.
Well, 5 bookings. As I say, I saw 9 yesterday, Everton against Manchester United. In defence of the referees, by and large, they're doing what they're told. That's Bergkamp's lovely flick for Parler. Phelan fought back, won the ball back. Needs 1 or 2 incidents perhaps like that just to pep up the crowd, to bring a little bit more purpose and passion into the play.
Well, if something like that's going to lift them, Martin, imagine what they're going to be like when they have a shot on target today. I just think they're desperate for something to happen. And I think the game turning a little bit like this might help them.
But they, like the players, I think, are worried about City conceding a goal, and they were so proud of Phelan for stopping it happening then. City are attacking now. Arsenal have really got sucked across. Peter Beagrie coming in from this side was in a huge amount of space. Flag went up. It's a dilemma, isn't it? Take a risk, throw more players forward, lose a goal, and you come off and you've lost another game.
I don't think you have to throw too many forward, Mark. I don't think that's the problem. I think it's when they get the ball. It's a bit like a hot potato for a lot of the players at the moment. And it's something like that I think Joe mentioned after, about taking a little bit responsibility, being brave, making something happen. I think that's one of the things they're lacking. It's like somebody getting the ball now and really making something happen.
Brightwell. Adams holding the line on the edge of the area. Flitcroft got a touch. Keown looking at it on. Could have been risky. Tugging there by Parler and Beagrie. Phelan setting off. Dixon slipped for a moment. He's got great powers of recovery. Phelan will get a ticking off here. Only a minute or 2 after being booked.
And again, it's another tackle from behind. He's not playing the ball against Lee Dixon. That's probably as bad, if not worse, than the tackle he was booked for 2 minutes ago. And that's a problem referees are giving themselves.
Well, if David Unsworth is watching, he'll be reflecting on what happened to him yesterday. 2 fouls in 3 minutes. He left the proceedings. But Phelan is still with us. Simons. Head tennis between the 2 sides. Beagrie. Rossler working to the left. City have got to put players in the middle, you feel, when they do get into wide positions. They're trying to do that now. Beagrie wanting to put the ball in there. But when he does, it's too close to Seaman. Tries to set the counter-attack in motion. At the moment, more pace, more emotion about the game. Flitcroft, Edgehill. Arsenal press. Do that well. And force Fitzsimons into a clearance that just gives Arsenal back the ball. So Seaman has to kick it out, and a rapturous ovation here for a Manchester City throw. Been something of a clutching at straws scenario. But Alan Ball has got so much passion for the game still. Still really is a very boyish figure. All the wear and tear that management is supposed to inflict on those who take it on. Rossler. Well, he wasn't complaining. Ball was trying to bar his way without giving away anything. Most of all, his position on the pitch.
Steve Ball just made him check, really. He made up his mind, Ball, he was going to let this run, I think, from a long way back. And what the right arm comes out, and he just has to check his run.
Streetwise defender.
Oh, he got.
Beagrie. A livelier look to the second half. Still a pretty quiet game for David Seaman.
I just wonder if Bolly's thinking about introducing Niall Quinn at all, Martin.
Rossler. Kincladze. Well, it was kind of a pace which rather weakened the control. Bergkamp has got away from Curl. He's got right to his left. The door was slammed shut in his face by Simons.
Well, he did ever so well to win it in the first place, but just when he needed to release it, he got caught under his feet a little. It's a bit brighter this second half.
Right, making up the ground. Pearl's header had enough on it. Heike Immel played 19 times for West Germany. His last appearance was in the European finals of 1988. Simons. O'Chill. Rossler made himself available. Whitcroft has done more than most for Manchester City. Not just to turn the course of this game, but to help create something to turn the course of the season, which has begun so unpromisingly. Brightwell. But more difficult for Arsenal at the moment. Kincladze. Look back to him by Beagrie, and that's where the shortage of numbers tells.
See, that's a bit the ideal position you'd want your wide player coming in from the other side, i.e. Nicky Summerby. But again, he does like to come in field and try and get involved.
He's involved in a wide position here, but eyes have only at Adams. Curl. Kincladze, who has this real love for the ball. Edgehill. Rossler calling for the cross. Adams read it. A little bit deeper, and it might have manufactured something for Manchester City. Bergkamp and Wright trying to link up. Wright had the fight. And he feels that in the end he wants to continue a verbal fight with the linesman about a bit of shirt tugging that wasn't recognised. Beagrie. Rossler threatening to come short, and he did in the end.
It's lack of support. I mean, there was a decent ball played up to Rossler, but I had a look around and both Brightwell and Kincladze made no attempt to get up and support.
So this is Bergkamp. Rossler certainly thought that Bold had fouled him from behind. Arsenal allowed to develop this piece of play here. Well, given that Curl and Simons haven't seen too much of each other,
They've done all right, yeah.
Not done at all badly. And these long-suffering supporters trying to do their bit in the Manchester City cause. Merson. It's worth a hit. It was worth a hit. It had him all plunging to his right. It kept on going. Unfortunately for Merson, well past the post in the end.
Well, when he's taken up that position and Arsenal have got the ball into him, he's been a real threat today. He's tried to just play in that little hole occasionally, just drifted in, and he hasn't been picked up 3 or 4 times, and he's always made something happen, or almost happen, as is the case there. It's a decent strike, hits it very cleanly and very well.
And he's done it, of course, when Arsenal have had the ball, and as soon as Manchester City had the ball, he's back on the left. give a bit of security in front of Nigel Winterburn. He's beaten by a bounce there. And this is Somerville. Now I've wanted something a bit more decisive. And Bergkamp trying to twist and turn and show that he's got strength to go with the skill. He has this rather cool, detached air about him, which is a bit misleading sometimes.
Well, it was a difficult ball for him. He wouldn't have fancied that. Keith Kill's one of the quickest defenders around. And when Martin Keown opted to play it over the top, I think he might have thought, I'll be second best to this.
Just going back to that earlier incident when Nicky Summerby lost the ball, and yeah, I've wondered once or twice over the past year or so whether it's perhaps a mistake to come to the club where his father was such a favourite and was such a success here.
I don't know if it was a statement. It's difficult. I would agree with that.
And he's not perhaps as naturally confident a fellow as his father, Mike, is. He's inherited plenty of the ability. And the looks.
Well, his dad tells you he was a great player here, doesn't he? So it must be tough for him to live up to that.
I think if you look at the record book, City had a great side then, and he was certainly a key part of that, involving a certain Francis Lee as well.
Lack of numbers. Simple again, lack of numbers.
Merson waiting for Winterberg. Has to go inside to Jensen. And now to Wright. Oh, that's a bit sloppy. Rossler. Here's Kinkladze. And some of his pass.
That was unlucky, but more promising, Martin. See, it's a decent ball, and for once, Rossler has someone in support of him. And it's only just a little bit too heavy, the weight on the pass.
More of City as an attacking force in evidence in the second half. Some would say there could hardly have been less. Vigri driving on. It's well recognised by Winterburn, but City can exploit perhaps the other side of Kinkladze. Rossler was setting himself for a volley. All for the shape of the play. Might not be memorable for Manchester City fans, but if their side could snatch a winner here in the time that remains, it would be a wonderful tonic. And bold with that aggressive attitude and ability to make those sort of tackles and get away with them when forwards feel they're being fouled.
Well, he uses his body, Rossler, and then just keeps the ball. Amazingly, the free kick's given against him.
Oh, Vigri giving it away to Bergkamp. Well played, curl. Parler on the move. For Bergkamp, possibilities for Arsenal. It's all down to Vigri's mistake in the first place. He's looking tired, understandably. Rossler, flick cross, still full of running. Supported by Brightwell, likewise. Olympic stock, of course. A very athletic family. And he's only missed a couple of games with a sore back. More of a test of the durability of Vigri and Curl, have been out for longer periods. Kinkladze, no one right of him, so through the centre it goes to Flitcroft. Tough, grizzled centre of Arsenal. Thou shalt not pass, very much their motto. Right. Yellow card for Kinkladze.
Good skill from Ian Wright.
Yes, Kincladze himself would have been proud of that.
Yeah.
It's his trick, but he was outskilled then. Change of angle for Dixon to put it in poorly. But Immel can't clear it quickly. No one for him to aim at. And moving to the last 20 minutes. The outcome still in the melting pot at Main Road. Parler. It's nicely done for Dixon. Could have gone to Mercy instead, fortunately for City. Edgehill held it out of harm's way momentarily. Winterburn, good tackle by Edgehill. Arsenal knowing that a win would take them up into 6th place in the early season table. Manchester City, as we've mentioned often enough, need a win to get off the bottom. Rossler taking on Adams, but not passing him, although for a moment he'd lost him, it seemed.
And he obviously was boss marked because he showed him inside. He said to Rossler, "Go on, I'm quite happy for you to go onto your strong right side." And he timed the tackle beautifully.
Beagrie. Gold only got it through as far as Kincladze. In that midfield, when City have the ball, Arsenal with mass ranks between them and David Seaman's goal. Edgehill. Just needs a moment of lack of concentration, perhaps, of inspiration from an individual player. We've seen already this season a number of match-winning, marvellous goals out of very little.
It looks like it's going to take something along those lines, Mark, something pretty special, or a horrendous error.
Right, picked out by Dixon. Can he keep on going? Well, the ball didn't quite come fast enough for him. Coming back fast enough for City was Kit Simons.
Super run from Wright, it really was, so typical of him. Just pulled away on Keith Curl's shoulder and he was through. The ball just hung in the air a little bit too long.
Kincladze, Flitcroft. Don't really know where to go. Bergkamp. Keown, that's unlucky. Look where Wright had spun away to lose Simons this time. To make an early ball forward possible. Kit Simons, who Alan Ball first got to know as a 12-year-old when they were both connected with Portsmouth, was in such a hurry to come and sign for Alan Ball again that he left his overnight clothing behind, rushed up here to complete the transfer.
I'm sure he could have bought a few more new bits
after the transfer, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know how quickly the money comes through, but I'm sure that helped. But on a football move, he was thrilled with it. And that was nice to see. Edgehill. Well, it might not come from finesse. Could come from a fighting spirit from Manchester City. They're still very much in it. Edgehill. Dixon. Now now Bergkamp. Merston right to aim for. Only finding the head of Edgehill. Beagrie. They're poking it through for Rossler, who likes to run. Well, he's got to wait for support. Kinkladze. No chance for Rossler. No wonder he drops to his knees. He's been the instigator of so much of that.
They've had real trouble in the last third, Manchester City, trying to create much. And that doesn't surprise me. I see now Quinn ready to go.
Kinkladze. Somerby's come infield again.
See, I think that offers him nothing when he does that. I really do. He just closes everything up and no out ball going out the other way.
Beagrie had stayed out wide. Feels he was structured, not in the mind of Dermot Gallagher. Bergkamp. Brilliantly done. Right. Curl saying he's in control. Happy for Ian Wright to shoot from there. And all sorts of body language from Keith Curl there to give confidence to Manchester City, but they still needed the goalkeeper.
He was just saying to his goalkeeper, stay where you are. Yeah, I think if the goalkeeper had any rush of blood there to come out. But he was, I mean, that's we talk with players, no players. I mean, he knew Ian Wright's on his weaker side, Mark, and he was quite happy to keep him there. And he's still taking a risk. I've seen Ian Wright thrashed him in from that sort of angle, his left foot before.
Beagrie. He's done well. Cross again put into the area where you'd expect David Seaman to be in command. Seaman, incidentally, who passed 500 league appearances. His last game for Arsenal against Nottingham Forest. A milestone that rather slipped by. He didn't know. Subject, Tony Adams is determined, if he can, to break David O'Leary's club record. I think he's got to play for 4, maybe 5 more seasons as a regular. Wouldn't bet against it. Well, the substitutions from both camps. Niall Quinn comes on for Georgie Kinkladze. Eddie McGoldrick gets his first outing of the season in the first team in place of Ray Parlour. Well, Niall Quinn has never yet managed to score a goal against the club that gave him his first start in league football. 10 appearances against Arsenal, this is the 11th. Could it be the time? McGoldrick, who was very frustrated, not involved in the pre-season games at all with Bruce Rioch, thought he was on his way out of the club. Well, here he is in the team. Quinn wins it. Rossler. Beagrie. A slip there by Martin Keown that didn't help Arsenal. Edgehill. Quinn! Pushing Tony Adams down to the turf to get there, or to try to get there.
Well, the threat's already in evidence. They've been knocking these balls in all day with no luck at all, with no one on the end of it, never looking like getting on the end of it. And twice now, Quinn. The first from the free kick when he just nodded a nice ball down to Rossler. And now if they're going to go a little bit long, then at least they have a dual threat up there now.
Curl penalised. Nelson calling for it. Steve Bold suddenly breaking into a sprint to get there. He didn't quite achieve. Nelson was alert though. McGoldrick. Dixon. McGoldrick knows how to work the right-hand side. Although he'll tell you his best position is a sweeper. Corner to Arsenal. Could they settle it their way from a set piece? Seen it before. Adams. Keown doing the pursuing. Somebody pursuing Keown. That's nicely done by the Arsenal midfield man, but not the cross. To remind you to be in front of your televisions with the channel tuned to Sky Sports tomorrow night. Points at a premium for West Ham and Chelsea Monday night football. And on Tuesday, the UEFA Cup first round, first leg, Rota Volgograd against Manchester United, who will be with Manchester United all the way in that competition. It all starts on Tuesday. But mention not Manchester United in these parts. The City strive for their first win of the season. It's been a scratchy, cautious performance in many ways. Alan Ball just trying to build from the back, really. There'll be some satisfaction if they can complete a shutout against Arsenal. He knows there's a lot of problems that he sorted out. An instant miracle cure. Of course, the fans want Francis Lee to spend more money on the team. They feel there were promises made when the new regime took over, but Francis has proved himself outside of football to be a very, very astute businessman. He's not going to put the club into hock. He's trying to generate money from the business side of the club, restaurants and executive boxes. But it's a finely balanced situation. Arsenal's throw. Right. That was nicely done by Nick Somerville. Bring up alongside Rossler. Brightwell, just a little bit spread for the moment, but Arsenal regrouping. Quinn, Brightwell. Giving it to Somerville to play it in. Which he does, deep. Bigri. Rossler, back to goal. Couldn't turn. Back comes City again. Quinn. Andy, well, I was just thinking for once that I can't ever remember you being as quiet for so long. Well, no, that says something about the game.
I was just amazed at it said. I think Niall Quinn, I thought he just stood his ground, and Steve Ball was backing in, and he's a big lad to shift, Niall. But as you mentioned earlier, Steve Ball's a master at conjuring free kicks. I think they're both pretty good at that, the two centre-backs. I was actually trying to think about where a goal might be coming from. We're always trying to look on the positive side.
Bergkamp would love it to come from him. And it would take some of the pressure off Bruce Rioch if his Dutch star could open his account. The manager constantly being asked about the performance of Bergkamp. He made what I thought at the time was a rash statement when he signed that the English football would be very similar to the Dutch game. I don't think so. No. Few easy games in Holland. None here. Somerville trying to take on Winterburn. That's a good sight for Manchester City. Somerville. There was Rossler, there was Quinn, but for Arsenal, there was Adams.
And Adams was in trouble, Martin. He was right in between both Rossler and Quinn. You watch it as the cross comes in. Steve Bold has to go. Now look at Adams. He's in between. If it's near post, it's Rossler. If it's far post, it's Quinn. And would you believe it? He pops it right in Tony Adams' head.
Manchester City have a corner. The first corner can it lead to a crucial first goal. Back in from Brightwell, and unless Seaman makes a real hash of it, it's not going to lead to a goal. Not quite a Naeem moment for David Seaman then. Not quite the degree of difficulty. I also thought, Andy, you might have gone quiet because you've got to pick a man of the match. And thanks for that. I don't envy you. Yes, maybe on Stan Gibson's 70th birthday, we should give it to him for providing such a good pitch.
Can we hold it over to next week?
Dixon. Final 5 minutes. Bergkamp. Spun away by Edgehill, who's played pretty well. It's a shame for him. Winterburn. Getting it in early for Bergkamp to fight for. Quinn. Beagrie running on empty, you feel. Quinn, how can Rossler get here? And that was a marvellous piece of rescuing from Bold. No suggestion that it was a foul that time. Arsenal needed him. He answered the call. Rossler is hurt. Seaman bowls the ball out.
Well, he got a pat in the back from his skipper, and quite rightly too. Because Tony Adams lets this go through. He knows Rossler's there, but look how much ground Bold has to cover. That was super defending. It really was. Just for a minute opened up for Uwe Rossler. But that man slammed the door in his face.
Deflected off Adams to give Rossler a better chance. He has to go off for a bit of attention. Roy Bailey, incidentally, back as the Manchester City physio. Long servant here, fell out with Peter Reid, lost his job. Brought back after, I think, 3 years away. Happily for Manchester City, Rossler running round to the side to come back on again. He's a gutsy player. Bergkamp, good touch, right, trying to get there, held off by Simons with the right of holding his ground. Curl. Kickoff wanting it and getting it. But Arsenal all in place again. You wouldn't say that Bruce Rioch has had a great stamp on this style of Arsenal performance if he really wants to change it. There's plenty of resilience, and they've looked very orderly, as you would expect. We've got to walk before we can run in terms of a change of tactics, the manager's message.
I think that goes for both clubs, doesn't it, Martin? The change, it's too little time to really notice much, and both managers working at changing certain things.
Well, man of the match time.
Well, it's no surprise, I think, that most of the decent performances have been defenders. And that school of thought, I'm going to go for Keith Curl, who in his first game back hasn't really put a foot wrong, I don't think, and his authority they've quite enjoyed. having him back as a skipper. His authority at the back's been there, and I think Kit Simons enjoyed having him alongside, and he's my Carling Premiership man of the match.
Well, individually, a good return for Curl. Manchester City still worried that it might, at one point, might slip from their grasp in the time that remains. Merson, shoot here, it hits Curl, it comes to Wright. Curl's header, right well to a blue shirt belonging to Beagrie. And Quinn, again, when you are that tall, sometimes challenges do look more awkward than they really are. Dixon, Arsenal looking hungry here. Wright! Ian Wright has won it for Arsenal. Can there be any doubt about that?
Well, you can't believe it. How often is this man going to produce the goods? It's another late show from Ian Wright. But I tell you what, it's a quick free kick. Now watch the quality on Bergkamp's cross. You see Wright's position there, but look at the way he just feeds it in. That's the most dangerous area in football, between defenders and goalkeeper, fizzing across that 6-yard box. And when you want someone to be in there, you can bet your life Ian Wright will be.
Well, wonderful for Wright, shattering for Manchester City. Here's the time. We're in time added on. At least the sight of the Arsenal goal for City here. It might not all be over yet. It's Beagrie. Oh, and Seaman has his most difficult moment of the match in the 92nd minute. But he made it look pretty simple.
I think it was. I mean, I think he had a long time to see this. You can see it all the way, Martin's got a really good view of that. It would have been very unlike David Seaman if there was any other result other than the one we saw.
And the result is Arsenal's 1-0 under Bruce Rioch. There were so many of those under George Graham. Ian Wright in the 90th minute. Manchester City firmly stuck to the foot of the Premiership table. Alan Ball, a real blow to him and his players. Arsenal have regularly profited at City's expense in recent times, and they've done it again here in the nick of time. Just 1 point for City out of the first 15 available. Alan Ball well aware of the difficulties, and those statistics tell you he's not guilty of exaggeration. But when you need a break, when you're down at the bottom, you don't get it. You're on the wrong end of a goal so late, so typical of Ian Wright. Arsenal do move up to 6th place, their second win of the season, and they're still unbeaten under Bruce Rioch. He can scarcely believe it, even by his standards. So much bounce, so much bubble, so much enthusiasm from a player who takes every game at this level as a bonus, even though he's played so many. He started late, he scored late here, and Manchester City's struggles go on. Manchester City 0, Arsenal 1, and let's hear from Ian Wright.
Good, Ian Wright. Ian, many congratulations. Left it a bit late though, didn't you?
I thought Keith Curl and Kit Simons played brilliant, you know. They played me well, played me and Dennis well. When you play away from home, you try to battle teams and you know, try and get something. And in the end, Dennis, fantastic cross on a skiddy surface. You just have to get in there.
Well, let's show you that goal, because you'd also come close in the first half. But here's the winning goal. Talk us through it.
Leap knocked a nice ball out to him, and this is where his quality. He just whipped it round the corner there, and I've just had to get a contact on it. And from there, you've got to be looking to score, really. It's a great ball from Dennis, like I say, on the surface. It's just curled it in behind the defence, and he's got to be getting in across there, and I'm just pleased I got it.
How did you rate Dennis Bergkamp's performance generally?
Dennis is a quality player, you know, and he said he's just going to play himself into it and just try and take his chances if they come. And, you know, he's just battling away. He's loving every minute of it, and I think we're going to do some good things.
5 matches unbeaten. There's only a couple of you that haven't lost this season. How encouraged are you by that?
Well, the boss is emphasising that we're not really looking at the league table. He's looking more for quality. He's looking for crosses in the box. And no, I didn't think we got that many in today. But well, like I say, when you come here, you got to just grind out a result. I thought Man City played well. Gary Flick done really well, I thought. And you know, you're just looking for one chance away from home, and we got it. You know.
You took it well. Thank you, Ian. Well done.
All the best, Jeff Thomas.
Nice touch. Well, what a difference in the emotions of Ian Wright and Arsenal and those Manchester City fans who can hardly believe what they've seen. A goal from Wright 4 seconds from the end of normal time. Joe Royle's thoughts, Saturday's goals not too far away after the break.